Welcome back to my channel, everyone. It is Queen Karizma, your hostess, and I'm back with another podcast here on the Karizma Speaks official YouTube channel and the Karizma Speaks podcast. Now, I want to touch on a subject that I've been meaning to talk about, but just haven't gotten around to doing so. And it is the fact that a lot of the older generations of Black women, and I will be talking from a Black woman's perspective because I am a Black woman, the older generations of Black women will call going no contact with family members a trend. And specifically, Oprah, who has not had the best reputation when it comes to her alleged mistreatment of Black women and other people in the industry, she basically had a podcast where it was designed to make it seem like going people who go, specifically children, adult children who goes no contact with abusive family members, she made it seem like it's a trend. So I just want to talk about that. Okay, I just want to say this is a trigger warning for a lot of people. So if you feel that this will trigger you, if you feel like this is going to upset you, then I suggest you going to another video or podcast that better suits your needs. All right. So let's get right into it. And we're going to talk about how you have to be careful who you talk to about these type of things because people need to be trauma informed. If you're going to talk to somebody like a YouTube personality, a therapist, anyone who you're trying to tell about your story and is traumatic, you have to make sure that they are trauma informed. And what I mean by that is that they have educated themselves on what trauma is, including abuse and the effects of trauma, which may include mental health issues such as anxiety, such as PTSD, or other conditions that is related to these things. Now, I didn't fully watch the video, Oprah's video, but I did read some of the transcript from the video and I also observed the title, and already that was a trigger for me. What I've noticed is that a lot of older Black women, especially, they will dismiss other Black women and their experiences with abusive mothers, abusive family members, and they will make it seem like you doing what's best for you, whether that's going no contact, whether that's limiting contact, whether that's just showing up for the holidays only, whatever boundaries that you set as an adult, they try to make it feel like you are the one in the wrong. They try to make it feel like you're wrong for telling your experiences. They try to make you feel like you're wrong because you're the child and you're supposed to listen and obey your parents. They try to make it seem like this is a trend, but it's not a trend. So basically, going no contact with abusive people, it is survival. It is you protecting your mental, physical, financial, and emotional health. Do not let anyone try to make you feel guilty, try to make you feel bad, try to make you feel like this is a trend, because it's not. And those type of people, whether they have their own history of abuse and they went back to their abusers, they went back to family members who abused them, they're cool with it. They have forgiven that person and feel like, oh, I could be around them again. That's their choices. That's their decision. That's not what everybody's going to do. And everyone is not obligated to, for one, forgive. Nobody has to forgive you for the trauma and the abuse that you caused. But I mean, I think it's helpful for them to forgive themselves for blaming themselves, but no one has to forgive you for any abuse or trauma that you've caused them. And that's just the reality of it. Yes, it's good to forgive because it helps the actual person who went through it, but no one has to forgive you. That's number one. And a lot of the time in the Black community, especially in um, religious centered people, people who live off of religion, they make you feel bad if you are not ready or you do not forgive someone. They make you say, oh, God is going to hate you because you haven't forgiven this person for abusing you. And that in itself is gaslighting, and that in itself is abusive. So, what we're dealing with here is not a trend, but an evolution. The Merriam-Webster dictionary, the definition of trend, and I'm reading verb number 3, to generate or attract a lot of interest or attention, especially online and in social media. For some reason, a lot of the older generation think that everything that younger people do is for social media, is for attention, and it's a trend. It's what everyone's doing on TikTok, and that's not right. Because many of the things that I do, especially on this channel, is to educate and inform the public. And I think a lot of people, especially younger people, when they come online, that is literally their last resort. They have tried talking, they have tried working things out, and now they have no other support. So what do? They come online. They share their stories of abuse or of mistreatment online. They share their stories of toxic jobs, toxic family members online, toxic relationships. That doesn't mean that they're doing it to go viral. And I think that misconception is in a lot of older generations who was not born on the during the social media time, was born before computers existed, was born at a time where they were writing everything by paper. Getting mail, paper in the mail was their main form of communication. And just like these same generations said that computers and the internet was a trend, and didn't accept that this is the new way of life, don't accept new technologies, don't accept AI. These are the same people calling going no contact with abusive people a trend. And that is their way of dismissing the people who have experienced this type of abuse. That's their way of silencing people. And that's their way of judging and shaming the younger generation for speaking up, something that a lot of them could not do because they were ashamed of themselves, because they didn't have the courage to do it, because they were taught to love their abusers, because they were taught to keep family secrets, because they were taught to stay silent. Now they project this on other people, especially young people. They try to make like everything that young people do is wrong. Everything that young people do is bad. This is the overall way that a lot of older people think, especially baby boomers and Gen X people. They have an antiquated, a lot of them, not all of them, have an antiquated way of doing things, an antiquated way of thinking, and they're not open to growth. A lot of baby boomers and Gen X generations. Going no contact has always been a recommendation from psychologists who are teaching about narcissistic parents, narcissistic and abusive parents, narcissistic and abusive family members. This is not a trend. This is nothing new. Just like abuse is not new, going no contact is just one solution to solve a problem. And for a lot of people, that solution works, whether it's no contact completely, cutting off your mother, cutting off your father, cutting off whoever. That is what some people got to do to survive and to protect their mental and physical health. So I think it's a shame that a lot of older Black women are coming online, frowning their face and turning their nose up at younger women, especially Black women and younger people who are courageously telling their abuse stories, who are courageously telling what happened to them, and who use that social media platforms as a way to show awareness, to bring awareness and attention to an issue, and to maybe heal and vent because they have nowhere else and nobody else to go to. And you have these older generations shaming them and crucifying them for doing so when they could never have the guts to do anything that these young people are doing. It's a real shame. And so Oprah is someone who, not only is she filthy rich and have no connection to the Black community, not only has she been accused of being a mammy to white women and white children, not only is she known for pandering to the white community, not only is she known for treating other Black actresses like Monique, allegedly treating her bad, not paying her, and expecting her to do work for free. She is the main one on here talking about this is a trend, getting all these so-called experts on here to build her narrative, to build an agenda, and to make it seem like people who discuss this, young people who go viral discussing this, that they're doing it for clout and they're doing it for attention. And this is just a trend that's going on with young people and it'll fade away. No, this is an evolution. Now, I want to talk about the evolution. What does that mean? According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, evolution is a process of change in a certain direction unfolding. A process of change in a certain direction unfolding. Again, this is the same generation who thought that computers were just going to be a trend. This is the same generation who thought that the internet was just going to be a trend. This is the same generation who still don't know how to use technology. This is the same generation who has to be taught by the younger generation how to go on TikTok, how to use their own cell phones, how to use a computer, how to use AI. This is the same generation that's talking down on the younger generation, but look to the younger generation for help with technology and help with all type of stuff so that they could stay cool and stay hip and stay in the know. This is the same generation that's condemning young people for doing what's best for them and not accepting abuse or abusive situations, not from family, not from our mothers, not from our fathers, and not from anybody. Because just because you're blood doesn't mean that you are family. Just because you are blood does not mean that you are family. You have to treat a person with kindness, with respect, and with humility in order to be considered family. You have to treat someone with love. You have to be there for them. You have to act like you care, speak to them like you care. Just because you're blood and you got the same daddy or got the same mother, don't make you family. And just because you're not blood doesn't mean that you're not family, because it's plenty of people who have friends who are closer to them than their own family members. So the older generation, they love to worship labels. They love to basically want us to accept abuse and love our abusers, even if that abuser was a family member, a parent, or someone related to us. We're not doing that. This is not a trend. This is an evolution. The evolution is young people are waking up, seeing what is done to them, seeing that is not normal, seeing that they don't have to accept the abuse and leaving. Just like the older generation, they shame younger people for quitting a job that's abusive towards them, that's toxic, where the boss is talking down to them any type of way, in some cases being verbally abusive and disrespectful. And then you got these parents saying, oh yeah, you better keep that job. You better keep that good paying job. Don't you ain't about to live in my home without no job. And they're trying to tell them that they're being verbally abused, they're being micromanaged, this and that, and they don't care. They're telling them to accept the abuse and to stay at that job for money. So the older generation, many people from the older generation have put money above their own well-being, money above their health, money above their children. And now they're shaming and turning their nose up at children and young adults who realize that they do not have to take abuse. They can make careers and lives for themselves without following their father's footsteps, their mother's footsteps, or any other toxic and abusive person's footsteps. This is not your generation. This is not your world. The old way of doing things is over. And a lot of them cannot accept that. We do not have to tolerate the abuse that you took from your wife and from your husband and from your boyfriends and from your girlfriends. We do not have to tolerate any type of abuse, whether that's on or off the job, because there are many different options and we know that we deserve better for ourselves and for our future. And the thing about it is, these things are very dismissive. When you got all these people shaming people who are basically young people, saying, oh, this is the worst generation. Well, you're the one who taught this generation. You're the one who raised this generation. So when they do good, they're the best generation. When they do bad, oh, they're the worst generation. No, this is a generation who is not accepting abuse. This is a generation who's recognizing that they came from toxic environments, toxic homes, toxic mothers, toxic fathers who made their lives a living hell. And if they want to separate from them, if they want to emotionally detach from them, if they do not want to take care of them when they are older, they are not obligated to do so. Just because you took care of your abusive parent, just because you took care of your abusive husband or abusive family member doesn't mean that we have to. That was your choice. It was your choice to accept your own abuse if you continue to stay in that relationship or stay at a job that was abusing you. That was your choice. We do not have to choose what you chose. We do not have to accept what you accepted. We do not have to do things the way you want us to do things, because our way of doing things is based on our experiences. And it is not wrong. As long as we're not being abusive, as long as we're not being angry or violent towards our family members or those people who are toxic to us, it's perfectly fine, and it's actually safer for you if people go no contact with you other than putting their hands on you or other, like a lot of children are doing these days. A lot of adult children are lashing out and taking their parents out. Do you prefer that, or do you prefer going no contact? Because you can't have them it both ways. Either people are going to go no contact or limited contact or whatever helps their mental health, or it's going to be a lot of violence going on in the near future. So going no contact is not a trend. It is a survival mechanism. It is used by people with narcissistic parents, with abusive family members, with abusive bosses, with narcissistic bosses. This is a way of protecting one's mental health. And if you've never done it before, that doesn't mean that is wrong. If you have never used the gray rock method or you don't know what it is, it doesn't mean that it is wrong. Protecting ourselves does not mean that it is wrong. Speaking about our experiences, whether that involves a mother, a father, a family member, or whoever else, a toxic boss, whoever else who caused the trauma, that is not wrong. And you labeling it does not mean that we're going to stop talking or sharing our experiences, or stop going no contact, or stop the limited contact. Just because you judge and look at somebody a certain way because you were taught a certain thing doesn't mean that it's wrong, period. Anytime you take care of your mental well-being, anytime that you step away from abuse, anytime that you don't communicate with people who are abusive and you don't associate with people who are abusive, you are protecting yourself physically and mentally. It's nothing wrong with that, no matter what a baby boomer or Gen Xer have to say about it. And that's exactly what Oprah did. She demonized it. She made it a trend and she profited off the trend. Meanwhile, she cut off her comment section, just like a narc does. A narcissistic person thinks that they're always right and everybody's always wrong. They don't want to accept criticism. They don't want to accept that they did something wrong. So they just silence you. And by cutting off her comment section, she silenced the people who will criticize her, because these type of people, they love to dish it out, but they can't accept it. They cannot accept their own criticism from people who are looking at what they've done. And turning off your comments section is a cowardice move, because people have the right to either agree or disagree with you. But again, that's what narcs do. They silence you and they let their voices be heard, and they push their own agenda, their own story. And it's especially sad because a lot of this type of down talking, upturned nose from Gen Z and Gen X and baby boomers, a lot of them, they've been abused themselves. They have offered no solutions to the younger generation. All they have done is taught us how to be abused and to accept abuse and to not get help and to keep everything a secret. They have not taken us to therapy or taken mental health seriously. They have not given us any type of constructive solutions. They have not taught us the right way in a lot of instances. And now we are teaching ourselves, we are educating ourselves, we're informing ourselves on what happened to us and how we can constructively, in a healthy way, cope with the trauma that baby boomers and Gen Xers mostly have caused on the younger generations, and still are not taking accountability for the trauma they have caused to the younger generation through their bad parental guidance, their lack of parenting, and their abuse disguised as discipline in a lot of cases. This is not a trend. This is survival mode. We're surviving. We can't get that from anybody we know. So we're going to learn ourselves, and we're going to educate the public ourselves. Again, these are the same people who thought that computers were a trend, the internet was a trend. They didn't want to accept that this is the new way of life. They thought AI was a trend. They don't want to accept that this is a new way of life, that robots are real and exist and will be taking a lot of human jobs. These are the same type of people with that antiquated, ancient mindset, who are not open to growth and who has something negative to say about the younger generations, even though the younger generations are their leaders, because they will be leading the other generation that comes after them. This is that same generation that I'm talking about. Evolution is a process of change in a certain direction unfolding. You are witnessing a process of change. You have seen evolution of computers, evolution of technology, evolution of social media. We don't need to go to school to be journalists. We don't need your approval or validation to speak up. We don't need to get the okay from anybody to do what we do. This is a new age and a new world, and we do not need approval from the older generation to better ourselves. Because up until this point, as a whole, they have not done anything for the young generations. They have not done anything for the young generations, and that's why we are still in this toxic cycle. Toxic cycle. That means that the older generations did not do their job as a whole, especially in the Black community, and have the nerve to say anything about the youth that you raised, have to say anything about the youth that you didn't help, have to say anything about the youth that you put into poverty, have to say anything about mental health that you dismiss, because a lot of Black people dismiss mental health, and that starts in the family. That starts at home. Overworking people and thinking that's normal, that starts at home. not having a self-care ritual and telling people to stay at toxic jobs where they want to take their own life. That starts at home. Making them go to school when they're being bullied. That starts at home. And it's the same generation got something to say about the younger generation who they raised. All of this is manifestation of your parenting as baby boomers and Gen Xers. This is the result of your parenting as a whole. But nobody wants to address that. Your leadership as a whole, what you have done for this community as a whole. And it's clear as day that mental health is still not taken seriously in the Black community. Because just because you can't see it doesn't mean the trauma is not there. This is a community and a generation that only responds to physical abuse and still would dismiss that. They don't believe you unless they see blood coming from your body, bruises on your body, a body part broke. This is the only way they will believe that you have gone through something. But the thing about mental health is there are bruises, there are cuts, there is trauma in the brain. And that trauma directly affects a person's physical health. If your mind is not healthy, you will not make healthy choices or decisions, and that affects everyone. This is why we have shooters. This is why we have people just going to schools and shooting up places. People who have not addressed their own mental health issues or who was dismissed and ignored because it's a trend. Oh, this is just a trend. This is life or death to many people. Going no contact with an abusive person can save someone's life. And it's usually the abuser's life. It's important for young people to speak to trauma-informed individuals and not individuals who have an antiquated mindset, who do not believe in growth, who have been taught to love their abusers, who never left an abusive relationship, who never left their own city or state, who don't know anything outside of their own mindset, and who look down and judge and criticize the younger generation. Stop going to these type of people. Stop telling them your stories. Stop going on their platforms. Continue to go live and tell your story. Continue to blog and vlog about your story and your traumas. And if that helps you, continue to do it constructively. If you're not attacking anyone, if you're not harming anyone, if you're not being abusive yourself to anyone, if you are not being exploitative to anyone, you are not doing anything wrong. Narcissistic abuse, verbal abuse, and physical abuse are not trends. And trauma responses, such as no contact or limited contact or cutting off one's family who's abusive, that is not a trend either. That's a trauma response. It's a lot of people who need to start doing their research before they start talking. It's a lot of people before they start talking, before they start judging someone, and they haven't been through it themselves, or they've been through it, but they chose to love their abuser. Those are the type of people to stay away from, because they will dismiss your abuse. They will make it seem like you're so sensitive and don't know how to take, you're not tough because you don't accept abuse. They compare their lives to yours as if their life was harder. They don't know what it's like a day in your shoes, but because they see what they see and they compare their lives to yours, they think you got it easier and that you're weak and you don't know how to do this and you don't know how to do that. All their insecurities are projected on the younger generations. Oprah is nobody's role model. Oprah has done nothing, in my opinion, for the Black community. Oprah is a panderer to the white community, in particular to middle-aged married white women. Oprah has nothing to offer me. Her opinion does not matter to me. She is not no expert, in my opinion, and she has a record herself of being abusive in the business and entertainment industry. Don't hold her word at face value. And just because somebody is licensed in something, don't mean that they know what they're talking about either. Just because somebody has an education doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about either. It doesn't mean they're trauma informed. It doesn't mean that they have empathy. It doesn't mean anything. So do not let titles, celebrity status, and any other status or name or rank make you feel invalidated for your experiences, for how you feel, and for your actions. Nobody is living your life. No one has to go through the hell that you have went through. No one has walked a day in your shoes. And they think that the younger generation are walking on a gold paved road and have it easy, and they don't know nothing about us, nothing about our experiences. And a lot of them have made their own lives hard by the bad choices that they've made, by the children that they have that they couldn't afford or raise properly in a non-poverty stricken neighborhood. All the decisions they made their own lives harder for themselves. And now they're looking at the younger generation like, oh, you got it so easy. Maybe if you made the right moves and you adjusted and grew from your mistakes, maybe things will go more smoothly for you. But because the younger generation are making wiser choices, doesn't mean that their life is easy. So if you're a young person, especially listening to this, don't let Oprah, don't let a social media influencer, don't let no therapist, don't let a doctor, don't let a psychologist, whoever it is, tell you that you're wrong for going no contact or limited contact or whatever you choose to do as a grown ass person. Do not let them tell you or guilt trip you into believing that what you're doing is wrong, that protecting yourself is wrong. Let them frown all they want. Let them talk all they want. Continue to protect yourself, your health in a constructive way. And if that means you want to share your story live and you want to go on TikTok and you want to have this as your diary because nobody in your family and your life um, gave you any better solutions, then keep on doing that if it helps you. And there may be somebody out there that you're helping by telling your story. We're not here to people please the older generations, especially. They've already done what they've done. And apparently it was not their best because look at the youth. They didn't just come here out of nowhere. They didn't just come out of the sky. These are the youth that these generations have raised. These are the same people who have had children and raised them to accept abuse, have abused their own children, and want them to shut up and stay silent about it. Want you to go to family gatherings knowing that there is your childhood abuser there. They want you to not say nothing and eat at the table at Thanksgiving or at somebody's birthday around the person who abused you. This is the generation that has taught us to accept abuse. And not only accept it with open arms and shut up about anything that the family have gone through or that you've gone through because it makes mama look bad, it makes grandma look bad, it makes daddy look bad, and makes grandpa look bad. They only care about their outward appearance, like a lot of narcissists. They only care about their outward appearance, and everything that they do is performative. They perform for the public, and then in the house, they act their real self, which a lot of times is abusive, neglectful, bitter, angry. All this stuff that we have had to endure from these type of people, whether that's in our own families, whether that's on the job, in relationships, This is the type of stuff they want us to accept and shut up about. That's the generations that came before us. They're the don't tell nobody generation. Don't protect yourself generation. Don't do better generation. Don't do better than me generation. This is unhealthy. So Oprah, shame on you for being dismissive, for calling this a trend, always putting a label on something so that they could dismiss it. Shame on you being a survivor of abuse yourself. Was your abuse a trend? Was your trauma response a trend? Do not take this moment to exploit people who are really going through traumatic things, who really have gone no contact to save their own lives, who really have done this for their mental and physical health. Don't you dare dismiss them. Don't you dare make light of this. Don't you dare mock people who have to experience this. And I've seen other older Black women, especially on podcasts. I'm not going to name that individual, but a lot of these older Black women, they come together on these podcasts. They have their little cults on these podcasts, these little groups, and they worship these older content creators who they think are guiding them to live abroad or guiding them to do this and guiding them to do this. And they have all these Black women cults. This is for Black women only. A lot of them exploit Black women and do the same things that brings up trauma again. And these older Black women, especially, they think that these older Black content creators are their saviors. Oh, I'm teaching you how to live abroad. But the real thing is, if you don't fit their agenda, if you don't fit their money making scheme, they do not agree with you and they do not care about your real life trauma. These are people who focus on making money from people on the internet. So please be careful going to podcasts that do not know how to be trauma informed, have not educated themselves, don't know what a narcissist is, don't know what narcissistic abuse is, don't know that these things exist, and that going no contact and limited contact is not a trend. This is survival. It's really sad. It's really sad. But again, be careful listening to baby boomers and Gen Xers who have antiquated and ancient mindsets, ancient ways of thinking, who have not even solved their own problems in their families, but who have caused trauma to their siblings, to their loved ones, to their daughters, to their sons, and have brushed abuse under the rug, have not addressed the uncle touching their daughter, the daddy touching their daughter or sons, have not addressed the stuff in their own house, but is coming to social media calling something a trend. Coming to social media telling somebody how to cope. Coming to social media trying to police the way that young people think, that young people speak, and how we communicate on social media. Meanwhile, they're trying to make their own pages on social media. Meanwhile, they copy from young people. How many older people have podcasts? How many older people on TikTok? How many older people exploiting their children on social media for money? These are the same ones who got something bad to say about the youth and don't know a damn thing about the youth as a whole. These are your future leaders. These are your future caregivers when you're in a nursing home or when you need help. These are your future leaders. The ones you look down on, the ones you say is the worst generation, they'll be taking care of your ass in a nursing home in a lot of instances. Again, this is not all baby boomers and this is not all Gen Xers, but a lot of them were taught to accept abuse. They never left their abusive partners. They never stopped abusing their children. The same ones, overly judgmental, thinking that they're perfect and don't know what the hell they're talking about when they call something a trend. Everything on social media is not a trend. This is an evolution, and more people should do it. Going no contact, going limited contact with abusive family members, especially mothers and fathers and siblings who are abusive, whether that's verbally abusive or physically abusive or financially abusive. I'm going to keep calling this stuff out because I'm not going to let people dismiss other people's stories, other people's experiences. They love to age discriminate against young people, but hate when a job age discriminate against them and don't hire them because they're 50 years old. Love playing the victim. That's what the baby boomers and Gen Xers do. You point the finger at everyone except your generation and what you've really done for the Black community. What have you done as a whole, as a baby boomer, as a Gen Xer for the Black community, whether you're a celebrity or not? What have you done for your own family to help with this mental health crisis, to help keep your family together? What have you done? That's what everybody needs to ask themselves before we go judging other people. And there are young people with this mindset as well. So this doesn't exclude the young people who foolishly believe this as well. Not everything is a trend. Social media is used as a tool for communication, a tool for starting a business, a tool, a social tool. This is not your day and age. These are the new leaders, whether you want to accept it or not. These are your bosses. That's why your boss is younger than you. So obviously somebody is doing something right. Mm-mm-mm. Shame on you, Oprah, and shame on people who think like this. You don't know people. You don't know what they've gone through. You don't know what they've experienced. You don't know how they feel. You don't know the trauma people have, what they're carrying every day. Take a look in the mirror. Take a look in the mirror before you call something a trend or before you judge the younger generations. Because I bet your boss is younger than you. I bet the nurse that you need or the doctor you need is younger than you. These are the new leaders. These are the new generation of young people who are courageous, who speak up, who don't just accept abuse, who don't accept toxic jobs. They leave. We're not taking bad advice anymore. The old way of doing things is over. This is the new way of doing things. And if that means going no contact or limited contact, we will do it without emotion, without guilt blaming or blame shifting. If it's unhealthy for us, we will leave. And that's all I have to say. So if you are a young person who is hearing this message today, keep doing good. Keep speaking out about abuse, no matter if that abuse came from your own home. If you're able to do it in a healthy and safe way, a constructive way, speak out on it and keep on speaking. We will not be silent. We will not be judged. Continue speaking up and speaking out about abuse, about mistreatment on or off the job. We will not be emotionally manipulated or chastised because we're speaking up about our experiences. And that's all I got to say. Be careful who you listen to. Be careful who you put as an idol. These people do not care about us. They care about themselves. So with that being said, inform yourself about trauma, inform yourself about what a narcissist is, or narcissistic personality disorder, or narcissistic personality traits, because a lot of our parents and family members have mental health issues that are not diagnosed, mental health illnesses that have never been diagnosed because they never went to see a therapist. So now we're dealing with a crazy generation who make the younger generation crazy and then point the finger saying, oh, this is the worst generation, without pointing at them damn their damn selves. What have you done for this generation? What have you done for your future generations? What legacy have you left? What assets have you left? Have you left your kids with a house? Do you have a home? What are you doing to help the future generations? What can you pass on besides abuse and trauma? Besides having to be a single mom or a single father? Besides the abusive relationship, what have you done to help the younger generations? That's what baby boomers and Gen Xers need to ask themselves. All right, I'm done. If something else come up, I'm gonna feel free to come back on here and speak my mind. So I appreciate everyone who resonated with this podcast. Stand 10 toes down on your experience, no matter how uncomfortable somebody feel. Let them feel uncomfortable and let them walk themselves out, and don't let the door hit them on the ass on the way out. You have the right to speak. You have the right to share your experiences. You have the right to be angry. You have the right to feel sad. You have the right to grieve the family that you never had. You have the right to grieve the mother or father that you never had. You have the right to grieve your childhood, how it was supposed to be versus how it was. You have the right to see through rosy colored glasses. This is not the 80s. This is not the 70s. This is not the 60s, 50s, 40s, or 30s. This is an evolution, not a trend, Oprah. Get it together. Be blessed, everyone.